In this video, we're going to be doing some more modeling of furniture using the Morph tool. We're going to start by choosing our object. This is the one I want to use for this example. And we'll need to get some dimensions, copy that, copy the text right into the file. Good reference. We can also go ahead and take an image, and that's going to be an important part of our process here. We'll just do a copy and a paste. Accept that into the document. This is going to be the area that we work. I like to have two sections ready to go. It helps with the Morph tool to be able to see the planar projections. And we'll go ahead and open this in a new tab. So we have the sections here, and then we have a 3D, and we'll go ahead and do a marquee, and then Shift F3 will show us what's in that. And now we can just click within these tabs and get to our different views. You'll find that to be helpful. So the dimensions were, this is 48 inches high. So we will use Control R to resize this graphically, which means we select top, the bottom, and then we put in 4 feet. Move this into our work area, and we can just do a real quick check to make sure that the width is at least close. So M for measure, and yep, look at that, nice, 38 inches. So this gives us what we need, and let's go back to the website and see if there's any other pictures. So yeah, this picture may be helpful. Put it over here, and we'll resize that as well, just visually, so it doesn't take up as much space. That gives us an idea of what we're working with. So now I'm going to use some lines, move this down, oops, 2 copies. I'll project this line up, copy that over with F9 to the 38 inches, put the back to the cabinet, and it's 20 inches deep. And then we can trim this with Control. That gives us our bounding top. And we're going to have to estimate the shape of the top here. We can move this a little closer and maybe scale it down. So we're just going to make some guesses. We're going to say that this is 3/4 of an inch back. We're just trying to get the essence of the shape. The actual shape isn't that critical. I'd say that that's, well, we can measure here. This is about 2 3/8 round, and then this hangs over. Yeah, here's that 3/4. Let's see if that's about right. Yeah, that's about right. So let's just use a circle 1.1875. That's an inch and 3/16. So that's 2 3/8. And we'll put that tangent to here. We'll draw a circle with the 3/4 offset. Then we bring this down to the front. And let's draw a line through there so we can get a point. Go through there. So that's what's nice about ArchiCAD, is we can just try to get all of this geometry in here accurately. And then we can start making all of our morphs Okay, so that is between nodes. Good. So circles pretty mild there. I need to make sure this is centered. So I wasn't careful to make sure these are the same height. Let's see if I put them at the same height. And that guarantees that it's symmetrical. I'll go ahead and draw a line through here. And again, I'm just kind of visually working this out. I got a circle here and a circle here. Let's see if we can get a fillet to work. And I'm thinking that's a big radius, like 2 feet. That doesn't work. Try that again. And let's eyeball this. Actually, that's not too bad. This circle comes around a little bit. So this one's tangent, and this one has a little bit of a bump to it. So we're going to call this good enough. Obviously, you could spend much time as you want. I'm going to trim this. Mirror this over. So feel free to spend as much time on that as you'd like. I'm going to also now do L with an O, offset, magic wand with the space bar. .75 inches. And this can be 0.75 inches as well. That can be the front of our dresser. So we're getting all of these curves. And I recognize there's actually a little bit of a circle or of a corner there. Not exactly tangent. So let's bring this up a little bit. Mirror that. All right, so that is a great start. Let's move this. So this is going to be, let's get our top first. So we'll go to the morph, and we're not quite getting that to bridge. So let's see what needs to happen there. We just need to select those and hit I for intersect. That'll clean up that, and then it should wrap all the way around. So there's the blue, which is the preview, and now we've got ourselves a top. And let's go ahead and do something that's pretty easy to see. Let's just go with the beige. Okay. Now we can extrude that down. We'll assume it's 3/4 of an inch. So we now have the top. And let's verify that, yeah, 3/4 of an inch looks good to me. Looks like there's another component here. So now I'm going to take this, Control C that, and now I'm going to paste that into here as well. And get this lined up. And let's actually pull this sitting on the right on the story and take this top. Looks like this is (3-6). So we got those two pieces. Look that at 3D. Okay, it's starting to come together. Now let's go ahead and extrude the front of this box. I'm going to go ahead and pull these two out. And I'll open that and we'll turn that into a morph as well. I need a little cleanup here again with select them, hit I. Need to make sure they come to corners, and this needs to go all the way back. Yep. Let's get rid of this line for a second. There we go. Look at that in 3D. And there's this morph. Let's pull this up with the extrude. Yep, I don't think that's what I wanted. I think I got the wrong shape. Try that one more time. I do find that that happens periodically where you think you made a morph, but it didn't take it. So let's clean. Get these lines. There's a additional arc overlaying that one, so I bet you that's what the problem was. Let's again. Okay. Now we got a morph. We'll bring that up. It looks like I've inadvertently made a few of them. I'm still screwing up. All right, one more time. So I need to see how many morphs I have here. So I have 2, so that's good. I'm going to go ahead and copy this up. I think it's just confusing itself with all the extra lines. There it is. Okay. So yeah, sometimes it can be a little tedious, but with some practice, it gets easier. All right, now we can get that up to there. There we go. Bring this down to there. Go ahead and set this to the same beige color. So it's a pretty satisfying shape. And we can go back into 2D And we do have this little bevel. We'll look at that in a second. And we have this foot. So let's go ahead and think we can do the foot in section. Let's give it a whirl. So what we need to do is, here's a center line. I'm going to go to the line tool. I just want to create half backspace if you make a mistake. That shape, and let's see if it'll let me revolve. I'm holding shift, a 360-degree revolve. And that worked great. When you do model in section, it drops it into the plane. Into the plane of the cut. I just had to move that over. Now I have a foot. Now we can operate on this foot. Change the color again. And if you want to go to the extent of getting these little cuts in here, looks like we have probably 6 of them. We can put those in as well. We can do those with a Boolean operation, a subtraction. Let's see if what the best way to do that is going to be. Probably you can always go and see what the objects are that are available. So there's a sphere. SB83. And we can control the diameter of the sphere. And we want the diameter to be probably 0.125. There it is. And as soon as I'm done doing this, I'll probably think of a better way to do it, but let's keep moving. Do 3 1/4. So here are these guys. Little marbles. And we just need to connect a cylinder. So we could see if there is a cylinder. I think there is. Obviously, we could also extrude one, but I think this is easier. All right, so now we can now what I want to do is actually put these spheres. This is the cylinder, these are the spheres. I'm going to put these on top of each other. I'm going to select one and elevate it 3.25 inches. Put this in the same spot, go into 3D. Drag this to the center. And that's already in the center. So actually that wasn't too bad. Now I'm going to convert those to Morph. And I'm going to select them again. I'm going to union those. Now I have my cutter. And I can go put it next to the foot. So let's Now we'll go into our section and we'll get this lay it around. Now we'll hit Shift M for multiply, rotate, and if we want 6 of them, we can do 30 degrees. Rotate to path. Way too many. 60 degrees, do the math. And we can just do the Boolean right here. So choose all of those. Right mouse, Boolean, subtract, and then okay, so make on the selection, this is important. Always make sure you have this third option, which makes the selection direction sensitive. If you select from right to left, anything that's completely from left to right, that is, anything that's completely contained will be selected. You go right to left, anything that's partially will be selected. And then another little trick is to hold spacebar. See, the magnet wants to select what the element that it's over. If I hit the spacebar, that turns off. Then I can select just those. And I need to unselect that circle. Now we'll do the Boolean subtract. And for some reason so we're going to move this forward 6 inches just so it's not interfering. I like to put this arc back up here. Subtract. There, we want the blue to be what it's cutting from. Let's push this back up with the 6 inches. And we'll mirror that over. And we'll copy those back. Nice. And if you don't want these to be a different color, you can select the whole thing. Oh, I see the button I was missing. Here it is. Custom faces. So now everything gets selected. So I actually kind of like the two-tone, so I'll leave it. But yeah, watch that little button, because these are considered custom colors. They're overriding the color of the main body. All right, and the last thing to do would be to put these drawers in. So that's why I want to go back into our elevation, and then we can decide how we want to do this. I'm going to start by creating some lines, because that's just an easy thing to do. Line offset, and we'll bring that in 0.2 inches. We can use a space bar and box select that. pick those up. I'm going to copy these down. Now I'll use the marquee, stretch that across. F8 to stretch. That down to there. Looks like I'm using a lot of spacebar to get rid of the magnet, by the way. And you know, you can measure all these, you can get as accurate as you want, but really it doesn't matter because you're not going to actually ever dimension these drawers. I'm going to stretch these lines down again. 8. Spacebar. And one last time. And then what we can do is just create a morph here. Let's see how it behaves. So we can definitely don't want that. So I'm selecting morph inner and outer. So in 3D, these should be 2. Yep, and they are. And I found that the best way to make these work let's make sure we got 2 for each one. So we got the top 2. Looks like the bottom 3 didn't take, or I didn't do it right. So let's get the inner curve of the bottom 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we've got them all. All right, so I want to take the insides of these and just push them. Give it some dimension. And then I'll do lots of subtractions here. Because I ultimately want just the outline. And you could do one of these and copy it and stretch it, and you know, there's a dozen different ways. And if I were to do it all again, I'm sure I could come up with a more efficient strategy, but sometimes just doing it the hard way and not getting stuck with getting too particular on how many keystrokes ends up being a little faster. But and over time you develop some strategies. So there are these. Now we want to stretch or push these, and it probably doesn't matter, 6 inches. I'll just do that to each one of them. You got to get on the face. You can just click to the back. And again, these are duplicates. That there are 2 of these and 2 of the bottoms, so you could have done it once. But there it is. Okay. Now remember, those are going to be on the section plane because we create it using section. I want to set this out, make sure it's good. And we want to subtract 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the main body. Boolean subtract. Keep the body, and now we've got the the edges for the drawer. So that looks nice. The last thing I'm going to do is put the little bevel around the top. You could just use a fillet, but if you want a little bit greater detail, then what you do is, I like to do, we'll go into this view one more time, and there's just a little bit of a swoop here. May have to do it in a couple swoops, but I'll just do the top to give you the gist. And this may be something you want to do with straighter sections, then so it doesn't get a lot of curves on it. You have to decide, or maybe you just arc one of them. I'm gonna, that's not wanting me to do that. I'm gonna make sure I have continuous lines and arcs to see if it'll trace better. There we go. So now I have this little fill region, or morph, planar morph. Go into plan. Remember, that's always going to get dropped on the section. I want to bring that all the way back there. And we can see it's right there. And I'm going to use a shift control, which allows me to convert to the white arrow, and I'm going to hit F5. So when I do the right arrow, I go from left to right, it just selects these, and I can slide those over because I do want those to be tangent. And we'll over just a little bit as well. Now, if I'm going to sweep this around, and hopefully it doesn't bomb out because it is a little bit complicated, I'm going to just try to make it a little bit more robust. I'm going to move this over. I'm afraid that it'll intersect itself in the corner. This and this have to get unioned. And then when I use the tube, it sweeps that shape all the way around. So let's look at that one more time. I'm going to undo it just because I know it's a little confusing. So once you get that little planar cut on the back, you could do one on the bottom, of course. So I'm going to, it's unioned. It has to be unioned. I push the tube button, and I hit spacebar to select the top surface of the morph, and it sweeps all the way around. I use the shift control to delete the original cutter. Looks like I'm gonna have to delete the line work as well. And there it is. I'm going to change. I have to change the color. Well, let me do that again. I want to get rid of the cut. So I'm going to turn that on, apply the changes to the custom faces. And now it got rid of that. So adds a nice detail. We'll just, you can add a few more, you know, lots to do if you want it more detailed, but this is going to give us plenty of detail for most models. And then now I have that on both of them. Obviously I could spend some time and make a handle of some sort, which is going to be important. We can look at what this looks like here. Turn this on and let's turn on hidden. Now it gets rid of those lines, and we probably should do that with this as well. So I want to make the edges hidden because those are all curves. Get rid of any line work, so I'll hit L, Control A, C, Control A. All right. And now we're left with this morph. You could either group this, or you can merge it. So I don't know why it wasn't letting me merge or group it in plan, but so now it's grouped. And we've got a really nice looking dresser, you know, so much more sophisticated than a standard ArchiCAD object. And it really didn't take very long. And you can use this in project after project, and you have something that was worth spending the time to model. Hope you enjoyed it.